G'day everybody, how you guys going? I'm back with another video. I was so stoked with how, or the feedback that I got in the last video. It was so amazing just to hear back from you guys. Admittedly, not very many of you guys, but it was so nice to hear back from you, giving me a bit of constructive criticism, which you know I'm always up to hearing, but also for giving me motivation and for really making me feel like investing in this equipment and whatnot and making these videos is actually going to turn out to be a good thing, I hope, going into the future. So I'm really happy with how you guys responded. I just want to say a big thank you to all you guys. If you're new to the videos, I mean, I'm new to the videos myself, but if you're new to the videos, consider giving me a subscription or subscribing to my channel to see more similar content to what you're going to see today. And how about we get on with the video? So as you might be able to tell, today we're looking at the Type 64. It's a tier 6 Chinese light tank which you can buy currently in the premium store. And today I'm going to run down exactly why I think this tank, and why you probably think as well, this tank is absolutely incredible. Is it overpowered? Objectively, yes it is, but I think you're going to want to watch this one, guys. So how about let's get to the comparison between this tank and its tier 6 light tank counterparts. Right off the bat, guys, you can see that we are comparing the Type 64 to the 5916, which is its non-premium tier 6 Chinese light tank counterpart, the AMX-12T, which is the French light tank, a tier 6, the tier 6 American T-37, and the tier 6 German VK28.01. Immediately look at that DPM difference between this tank and all the other ones. It's got 230 more DPM points than even the T-37 at 1864. This tank has almost 2100 damage per minute potential. I mean, look at the AMX-12T. Now remember, the AMX-12T is a tier 6 autoloader, so this is a good reason why its DPM is so low. But even so, at 1178, this thing has double the DPM of the AMX-12T. I mean, the Type 64 might as well be an autoloader. It shoots so quickly, and this is something that is so great about this tank. Once you have an enemy in your sights, and considering you can penetrate him, you will destroy so many tanks. It's absolutely lovely. Looking at the penetration, however, we can see that it is the second lowest. The only tank with lower DPM, lower penetration value is a T-37 American light tank. So you do have to be careful. This tank isn't going to be able to penetrate some of its targets. Having said that, it will get through a lot of its targets. Tier 8 heavy tanks. So remember now, the tier 6 light tanks, or all light tanks, aren't going to have that kind of terrible matchmaking that they used to have as the tier above the medium tanks. This tank, the Type 64, will be able to go through a lot of the targets it sees, even though it does have quite poor penetration. However, if you meet really heavily armored tier 8 heavy tanks, which we all know with the recent introductions you probably will, you just have to hit the 2 key and you will get better penetration. I think it's about 177 millimeters from memory. Let's have a check right now. It's 177 millimeters exactly, and there's also APCR, which is an absolutely fantastic round because it is a faster velocity, and I always prefer that because if it's a faster velocity, then you're going to be able to lead your targets less. Anyway, let's keep going. Its rate of fire is astronomical at 18.18. That is super quick. Sure, it's not the fastest in the game, but it shoots so quickly at 3.3 seconds reload time without any crew skills. So at the base value is 3.3 seconds. That is so fast, and it means that you are going to be able to shoot like an autoloader, which is why I was saying, unlike the AMX-12T, which is an autoloader, this tank might as well be an autoloader, and you skip that 20-second reload that the AMX-12T does get. Although the AMX-12T does get higher penetration, let's not forget that. But it does have the fastest reload time in its class, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, its shell velocity is slow. It's not as bad as the 5916 at 700, which is really slow, but 792 is quite slow, so you are going to have to lead your targets. It has nothing on the 12T, which is 1000 meters per second, which is very quick. That's really fantastic, but it does have, you know, it does have a very good it does sorry, have a pretty poor shell velocity, so you're gonna have to lead targets. However, it isn't the worst in class, and it's joint with the VK, so you don't have to worry about it being underpowered when compared to its peers, because really it's about average. Now, its ammo capacity is low, but for almost all these tanks except for the VK, they're all pretty low. So ammo capacity is something you will be worrying about, especially considering how fast this tank fires. Having said that, you don't have to be worried too much, because again, it's not underperforming, it's about average for its class. Now, gun handling is a place where this tank shines. 2.1 second aiming time. That's not amazing, but it is really good. And considering you shoot every what was it again? You shoot every 3.3 second base value with a 2.1 second aiming time base value as well. You're going to be able to shoot your shot, and then you're going to be able to aim in fully before your gun reloads in that really quick time. So you don't have to worry too much about that. And also, its dispersion values are absolutely fantastic. Now, dispersion in general at 0.4, that's not good, but while moving and the tank traversing and the turret traversing, it is really, really good. Best in class, along with the T-37, and Americans, as you might know, are renowned for their accuracy while moving. So this tank has got very good accuracy, especially when you combine it with vertical stabilizer, which will decrease the dispersion by 20%, and that is absolutely amazing. This tank can snap in shots really, really well, and it's something that vertical stabilizer is something you really need to have on your tank, because it makes all the difference. Now, let's just have a look at the elevation and depression. The elevation, 20 degrees, is pretty much standard. Again, it's very standard. The only one with worse is the AMX 12T at a terrible 12 degrees, but you don't have to worry about that. This has good elevation. And look at the depression. This is a Chinese tank, and it has 10 degrees of gun depression. Now, that's because it actually has the turret of a Hellcat. You might be able to see in the visual model that this tank has it's got the turret of a Hellcat. It doesn't have the armor of a Hellcat, but it does have the turret. So if you look at it, it's got 10 degrees of gun depression at the front, which is absolutely insane. Let's see if I can hold it there. Oh, no, not quite. Well, that's getting a bit frustrating, but it's fantastic. The only places you don't have it are right at the back. But who shoots over the back like that anyway? It's 7 degrees. 7 degrees is nothing to complain about anyway. So you are going to have a great time in this tank, being able to really get off shots over ridge lines without exposing the hull of the tank. Because this isn't it's not a low tank, but you don't even have to worry about that. If you can get behind a ridge and shoot over a ridge with that amazing accuracy and dispersion, you can quickly get in shots, reverse, go back up, get in another shot, and you're going to hit the targets. This tank is amazing at ridgeline cresting, and it's one of the best things about this tank. Now, going into the speed as well, it is the fastest in terms of its top speed, 72.4 kilometers per hour. Absolutely incredible. You bomb it around the battlefield so quickly. And considering it's one of the heavier tanks here as well, of course the T-37 and the VK especially is very heavy. You also have a good power to weight ratio. It is the worst power to weight ratio, however, but you're not slow. It's not like you're lagging behind. Sure, you're not gonna have as great acceleration as any of the other tanks, really, but you're still moving around really, really quickly, and the terrain resistances as well are some of the lowest, with the lowest on hard, the medium, joint with the VK, and an average on soft terrain. But really, you don't even have to worry about mobility. It's not like the tank has a 4 power to weight ratio. You've still got a 21.74 power to weight ratio. It's still incredibly fast. It will still reach its top speed limit of 72.4, and you're still going to be able to bomb it around the battlefield and really bully a lot of the tanks you're going to meet in this tank, especially when you're tier 6. This tank is really good at that. Now, probably the worst aspect of this tank, which is saying a lot, is that it's got a slower turret traverse. It's only 36 degrees per second. Now, 36 degrees per second isn't actually that slow. It's not terrible. You can manage it very, very well. And yes, it is slower than it is slower by quite a great rate compared to, for instance, 5916 at 48 degrees per second, or the T-37 at 44. But you know, it really doesn't make that much of an issue. I haven't noticed that much of an issue. You're still going to be able to snap shots off really, really well. the turret still traverses at a pretty reasonable rate, so it's not something you really have to worry about, in my opinion. Now, it does have some of the lowest armor in the game, in terms of the lowest armor compared to the comparison tanks here. Pretty much the same as the T-37. You can see that it's got effectively the same values, except for the hull armor on the side. So you will be overmatched quite often. That is something you have to worry about. I mean, a lot of the tanks as well at tier 5, as we know, have derp guns, and that is really frustrating in this tank, because if they have 50, 60, 70 millimeters of penetration, it is going to damage the tank quite significantly. Even if it doesn't penetrate, remember as well, it's got an open turret, so it will do a bit more damage in general, because it's going to enter the tank, that kind of thing. So that is something you might have to worry about as well. But really, in what light tank do you not have to? Maybe the AMX 12T with its 50 millimeters of frontal armor isn't going to get overmatched, or the VK, but you're still going to, it's high explosive at these tiers going to ruin any tank's day anyway. So it's not something I would worry about too much. It's just something you got to keep in mind, that you're not a heavy tank. You shouldn't be up the front trying to tank shots, because you're not going to tank shots. Every tank is pretty much going to be able to penetrate this tank. It's just the reality of it. It does have good track armor, especially when compared to the 5916, but don't rely on it. It's just spaced armor. It'll absorb shots, but again, yeah, not something you should rely on. It's not that amazing. Health wise, it's pretty average at 580, and also its view range is really good. Now, a defining feature of light tanks is that they should be able to spot the enemy and light up the enemy team for your team to shoot at, and this tank has 390 meters of view range, so you will be able to reach the view cap of 445 meters, I believe it is. You'll be able to reach that pretty effectively if you have good crew skills, and if you put on coded optics, then you're going to be able to light up the team so easily for your team, and you're going to be able to effectively rise up, or raise, I should say, the amount of spotting damage that you will receive. And also, when it comes to money making, you don't really buy tier 6 tanks if you want money making or credit making in this game. Tier 8 tanks are probably where you want to have a look at, but if you are looking for a maybe your first tank to make credits with, then the shell cost of 94 on this tank is quite low. It's not the lowest, but it is low enough that you can make a decent profit on this tank, and make some money on it while having quite a lot of fun, because as we can see in the stats, it is a really good tank. Back to the garage now, and just have a look at this tank. I love it. As you might have seen from my last review, I do love my Chinese tanks in general. Now you can see here that's got a little sun on it. That's actually the Taiwanese flag emblem, if I'm not mistaken, because the reason that this is in the Chinese tech tree is, and using a bit of history here, is that Taiwan, no one really knows if it's its own country or if it's part of China, and so for wargaming to be able to appease China and not have its game banned there, it has just added this Taiwanese tank to the tech tree. Well, that's probably the reason why it's added this Taiwanese tank to the tech tree, but has kept its flag on it to be able to show that it does have its own kind of heritage and culture. But just look at it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. If we compare it to Type 62, however, we can see it is a little bit taller. That's something you've got to worry about. And also, if we have a look at the concealment, we can see that it does have pretty good camo rating of 28.62. Now, I do have a camo crew on my tank, and I'm training it up. So that's something you got to remember. But and that actually does add quite a lot of points to the camouflage value of this tank. So it doesn't have the greatest camouflage, I should say, but if you do have a camo crew on it, you can get it to be really, really good, and also reach that view cap. Now, in terms of equipment, what I've got on it, I've got coded optics, so I can reach that view cap, and I know I'm going to reach it, and I don't quite have the crew skills yet to reach it. Also, vertical stabilizer. As I said, this tank has amazing dispersion values. Why not make them even better? Be able to snap shots off really, really well. And also, I have a medium caliber tank gun rammer. I would recommend putting that because you want to have higher DPM, I think, on pretty much most of your tanks. And this tank really is a bully when it gets into tier 6 or even tier 7 games, even tier 8 games. And so you really want to be able to get off those shots really, really quickly and reduce that already absolutely spectacular DPM on this tank. One thing I should mention is that this is not really a good crew trainer, and I only say that because you have 5 light tank crew members instead of the usual 4 in pretty much all of the Chinese light tanks from like tier 4 above or something like that. So you're going to have to recruit another team member. You're going to have to train it up. That will be a bit of a pain in the ass, and pretty much all your crew training, if you accelerate the crew training, will go to that one crew member until it brings it up to speed. And as you can see, it's probably, realistically, the amount I play this tank, it's probably never going to reach quite the crew level I have on my other Chinese, my usual Chinese tanks crews. But having said that, this tank is just a really fun tank to play, and if you want to have something to have fun, to bomb around on the battlefield, then I would really recommend going with this tank, because it is really, really fun, and it's probably going to be removed soon enough, because after the buff to this tank in terms of its matchmaking, it has become pretty damn overpowered. I mean, if we have a look at the statistics for the Type 64, we can see that currently it's on about a 54% win rate, which is really, really good. It's not amazing, but it does indicate that this tank is winning 54% of the time, meaning it's winning more than it's losing, meaning it's probably a little bit overpowered. If you want a tank that you know is definitely going to be, well, not definitely, but a tank that is probably pretty well balanced, it's going to be around about the 50%. 54% is getting to that really upper end where you know that this tank is probably pretty damn good for a reason. But enough drabbing on, let's have a look at the gameplay and see how this tank performs in battle. So here we are, guys, in battle. We have an amazing replay here. We got Agent, far out, what's his name? We got Agent PM22 in his Type 64. He's clearly a pretty good player in this tank. Clearly likes it, because look at his 3 marks of excellence on his tank. We know that we're in for a pretty good replay here, guys, and I know I'm really excited for this one. We can see that right now he is rushing to take, I'll just increase the minimap here, he is rushing to take the donut area, as I think it's been referred to a few times now. This isn't a good matchup either. He's in a tier 8 game, so his penetration values aren't going to be that great. And we can see that he does take quite a few APCR rounds. He is playing really aggressively though, and that is something that the Type 64 is very, very good at, and that is playing aggressively, getting into those positions, taking aggressive positions, and being able to fire effectively. Artillery is going for the light tanks, to be expected. Does splash his teammate there. His teammate is blocking him a little bit, does get a little bit of ramming damage, but I mean, that's obviously an accident. That's nothing that he has to worry about at all. But you can see that quite a lot of the team has already been spotted in this area. He is getting surrounded around here. The VK, sorry, 2801 has been spotted there. He takes him out. Look at the snapshots on this tank. How amazing was that? He was able to go forward, shoot him, reverse, back forward, shoot him, reverse again, and without really having to think about it. Now he does try to climb this ridge, fails a bit, almost goes out too far, and could get hit by that WZ-111 or the T-28 prototype. 2 tanks with very nasty guns for their tier in terms of damage wise, and those caliber guns would overmatch this tank. Now he does try and get the AMX AC-46. He could probably go a bit forward and could shoot the cupolas on top, but decides not to, which is probably a wise decision. You don't want to go too far out in this tank, as I said. It doesn't have very great armor. And at this point, he's had 2 shots here, done 196 damage. Pretty average so far. But you can see he is playing aggressively, kind of playing with fire a bit here, you might say, considering that he's going out and really exposing himself to the other team. So far, no spotting damage as well. So he's really just looking for opportunities here to be able to break through the line here. The scores are even right now, 1-1. Nothing too exciting there either. Does get a shot into the VK, but also gets hit in return, and the tier 7 French tank destroyer tries to snap a shot at him, but misses, thankfully. That VK is also shooting premium rounds, which are pretty much definitely going to go through. I mean, with that kind of penetration, he doesn't have to worry about missing. Now he does try and get a shot on the AMX AC-46. Does look like he shoots. He gets a shot into the cupola. Is he going to get another one in? Takes him out as well. Absolutely fantastic play. And just look at the reload of this tank. Able to destroy the AMX AC-46 and then destroyed the VK as well straight afterwards. Didn't even have to hesitate. Got the shot straight through. So 3 kills already for Agent. Can't even remember what the first kill was, to be honest. But oh, sorry, the VK, of course. Gets 3 kills already. His team is pretty much not carrying at all, but he is able to effectively take out lower health targets on the enemy team, which is something that is really important in light tanks, especially this light tank. Now he also, I'm not sure if he spotted that tank, but he was able to hit the STRV. I can't pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. But I think it's a tier 6 premium Swedish tank, medium tank if I remember correctly. My memory serves me right. I am getting a bit older, hey. But so far he's looking for shots on the other team. The other side is a little bit less well off than this side. This side has pretty much been taken. And here we go. The STRV has been spotted. He has spotted the T25 as well, so we can probably presume that he does have coded optics or a really good crew skill. Ooh, gets hit as well. Sorry, he has really good... sorry, I'm getting distracted. Really good view range and was able to... spot that tank there. Did you see that snapshot as well? Didn't even aim in, just shot in the general direction of the STRV and was able to penetrate him. This is what I'm talking about. Scores are even though, despite all the hard work he's been putting in, the scores are even. He has lost over half of his hit points. Does need to be careful. One hit from one of those tanks on the other team could really, could take off pretty much all of his health. He aims in for the STRV, hits him, tracks him. Will he get another shot in? Gets another shot in, tracked him again. The STRV has expended his repair pack. Can't move. He gets the track damage or the spotting damage, I suppose. I can't remember what it's called when you track the tank and your team members shoot him. And he also gets another shot into him and takes him out. So far on 1300 damage and 3 kills. So, oh sorry, he didn't take out the STRV. But anyway, he's doing really, really well so far. I mean, even if the game ended right now, this would be a good game. But we all know that this is not the end of the game at all, is it? So he's done 200. He's got 235 hit points left. He's searching now to try and find the enemy. Driving around because his T-34-85M on his team, that's the well-armored premium tier 6 Russian tank, was calling for help, and he has been taken out. So he's looking to have shots. Now what he's doing is he's staying up on this ridge in order to be able to snipe down into the field and be able to shoot any enemy tanks advancing. Tries to go for the 59-16. It does go a bit low, but you can also see how slow the shell velocity is there. It's really, really slow. He is into his APCR now as well, and even that is a little bit lackluster. He's able to lead his shots, however, quite effectively, moving a pretty fast-moving light tank. That's the tier 6 non-premium Chinese light tank. Again, still aiming and waiting. The AMX AC-46, he's relying on him to do the spotting. Oh, we can see that the 59-16 has been spotted, but he can't. He's behind a rock right now, or behind like a big mound there, and can't quite help the tank destroyer in his team. Will the 59-16 be able to take him out? Yes, he does. So that 59-16 player is clearly knows what he's doing. He was able to take on a tier 7 French tank destroyer and take him out effectively, while being on not too great hit points himself. And also look at the ammunition of Agent here. He's only got 12 APCR rounds, 7 AP rounds, and 5 HE rounds. Now the WZ-11 on the enemy team has been spotted. It took Agent a few seconds to realize, but he has realized. He's going to try and get shots on him. Oh, but he spots the KV-2. The KV-2 is quite far away. Look at that snapshot. Gets it off. I mean, again, don't have to say much about it. But wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is really great snapshotting. And this tank is so capable of doing that. So right now, he's trying to find the M4A3E2, the KV-2, and the 59-16. He knows they've last been spotted around this area. Snapshots off one again. Is able to get into the KV-2. Maybe he doesn't remember that he's firing APCR rounds right now, because those are pretty precious rounds when compared to the AP. Probably should switch to AP, but this would be a pretty scary game at the moment. Enemy are capping. The KV2 can't see him because the KV2 doesn't have very good view range, and it is quite a large tank in general. So that's why Agent was able to spot him with his really good view range. He was able to spot him with low camouflage. He did switch back to his AP rounds, but now he's going into the cap circle with his APCR rounds, because there's an M4A3E2 that could possibly be in there right now. In fact, that would be the tank that is capping, unless it's the artillery, which is unlikely, and the M4A3E2 does have good armor. So what Agent here is doing is he's going around the front to try and confuse the M4A3E2, which might think he's coming from the side, but he doesn't anyway, and he takes him out and stops the cap. This gives Agent a lot more time to be able to consolidate his thoughts, think about what to do, until now, when the last member of his team, an FV304, was taken out. So Agent here must be shitting bricks. He's staying here right now because he thinks the 5916 will be coming this way, and he does. 5916 doesn't seem to spot him, and he gets the shot and snaps it in. 6 kills for Agent so far, but he's got 1 tier 8 artillery that's probably looking out for him for sure. Got 2 tier 7 tank destroyers in a platoon, so they could be talking together, giving them a communicational advantage, and an M44, I believe, tier 6 American artillery on the enemy team that's also going to be aiming in for him. And again, this is a very lightly armored tank. Even a splash damage in the postcode of this tank could destroy it, so we've got to be very, very careful here. Agent's doing a very good job of just scouting out the areas, but again, he really must be very, very worried right now, because he has no idea where these tanks could be coming from. The T-25s could come from opposite directions. They could be teaming up. They could be communicating, formulating a plan to be able to take him out and really ruin his day. But we know Agent's a good player here. He has 3 marks of excellence. That says nothing about this tank. I don't know what does. Agent, I think, decides that he's going to go and look for the artillery or look for the enemy players. No, he doesn't. He's just driving around the base, spotting, or trying to spot and see if any of these tanks come up. Now, he will have better view range than all of these tanks. So, if he can keep moving, so he doesn't make a target for himself, and is able to spot their enemy team, or enemy team players before they come up, he will have a massive advantage. Now, there's only 4 minutes left of this game, so the enemy team has 2 options here. They can either cap, or try and cap, or they can try and defend their base. Realistically speaking, they're going to try and cap, try and find Agent here and take him out. Whereas Agent really should stay around his base to be able to defend it, because he knows that the enemy team, they're going to be coming for it. It's really the logical thing they would be doing. You can see he's taking even more proactive. He's going a bit further out, trying to spot any enemy tanks he can. But where are they? Because they haven't been spotted for ages. And he's spotted the M44. Still got the premium rounds loaded. Loads an HE round, however. Oh, hits him very risky there, because he could have been splashed, but he doesn't. He avoids it. And he keeps moving because he knows that Lorraine on the enemy team is going to be looking for him. He's going to be trying to hit off shots in any direction he can. Right now he's on 7 kills, and he's still standing alone against 3 enemies. But he is making good use of his ammunition. You can see he switched back to APCR in case he comes across that the T-25-2s on the other team. Remember, there's 2 of them. They do have a pretty good turret armor and okay frontal armor, but their armor is, I believe, especially at angles, more than 122 millimeters. And he spots a T-25-2. Luckily, though, it's on low hit points. Oh, and he spots the Lorraine as well. He's got to be really careful here. He doesn't seem to be spotted yet. Oh, no, and he misses the shot. Gets him 1 shot. Will he get another before he misses the corner? No, he doesn't. Oh, this is very, very tense. Who will he go for? Who will he prioritize? The T-25-2, being a tank rather than an artillery, is going to be a bigger threat if he's not taken out, because any tank that's in the game is still a threat. Any tank that's not dead is still a threat, can still kill him. So what he does, he goes behind the tank. He goes behind, tries to flank the T-25, gets him behind. Now the Lorraine is probably shitting bricks right now, but he is able to reset the cap. Oh no! Oh, that was very, very lucky indeed. Doesn't get splashed, because he does leave enough time for the Lorraine to be able to aim in, but the Lorraine still misses. Even though the artillery was buffed, they weren't buffed that much. He loads AP rounds now because he doesn't know if he's going to be able to penetrate, and he just wants to take him out. That Lorraine will still be reloading. But he's spotted again. Oh, will he get taken out? Oh, this is incredibly tense. T-25 didn't take a shot until afterwards. It was too late. That Lorraine is rushing him now. Remember, a splash could kill him. Oh no. And the Lorraine misses. Absolutely incredible. Lorraine is doomed. And Agent here secures his 10th kill. 3,397 damage and 106 spotting damage. Absolutely incredible. Let's have a look at the post-game stats to be able to really see just how good Agent did in this game. Have you ever seen so many epic medals in your life? But let's not get too carried away. Let's have a look how he did. So he got the Ace Tanker badge here for getting in the top 1% of all experience earned in this tank, which is not surprising at all. He gets the Bruiser for damaging enemy modules and vehicles at least 5 times. And Fire for effect, causing more damage to enemy vehicles than the hit points of his vehicle. Obviously, he did a significant amount more. And look at this. Look at these epic medals. Let's just go through them individually. A Kolobanov's medal. We all want that ourselves, but is awarded to a player who stands alone against 5 or more enemies. You remember at the end of the game, he was standing alone against the 59-16, the 2 tank destroyers, and the 2 artillery. So that's why he got that. The Orlix medal. So that's the Kolobanov's medal. The Orlix medal for destroying 2 or more enemy tanks or tank destroyers in a light tank in one battle, because the light tanks don't have great penetration, do they? The Faden's medal, awarded for destroying the last enemy vehicle in the battle with the last shell remaining in the player's tank. That is such a hard epic medal to get, not that the other ones aren't. The Pascucci's medal, probably the easiest, destroying 2 enemy SPGs in one battle. And the Pool's medal, awarded for destroying 10 or more enemy tanks. That is just absurd in this tank, especially considering it was a tier 8 matchup. He also gets the High Caliber, the Defender, and Top Gun. And if you look, he's used pretty much all of his rounds here. He has still made a profit, even though he used 20 rounds, I believe, of APCR ammunition. He still made a profit of 20,292 and a base experience of 1,837, which is absolutely massive. So well done, Agent. You've done really well, as I'm sure you know. And he only bounced, I believe, 2 of his shots, or missed 2 of his shots in the game. So that is absolutely incredible. So really well done, Agent, and thanks for letting me use your replay. I do appreciate it. So guys, what do I think of this tank? If I were you, would I buy it? Obviously I have bought it, but should you buy it? Is it worth it? Is it something that you should invest in? And the answer is, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy it, because you know your own finances, but if you're looking for a tank that you're going to have a lot of fun in, that's really capable at playing games in its tier, and is probably going to be taken away relatively soon because it is quite overpowered, and Wargaming doesn't want to get rid of their overpowered tanks, don't they? Then 100% get it. I love it. I have no regrets in owning it, in purchasing it. I think it is absolutely fantastic tank, and as you could see by that replay, it is a very, very good tank. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you liked it, leave me a like. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Let me know why you didn't dislike it, but leave me a comment as well telling me why you didn't dislike it or why you do like it. I really want to thank you guys for watching. If you do like health and fitness content as well, look at my Instagram. I'll link that in the description down below. And I wish you all the best in the tanking, and thanks so much for watching.